8 months pregnant. When I had severe uterine contractions, I asked my husband to take me to the hospital, but he told me to bear it, just because his widowed sister-in-law was also giving birth today, in order to prevent my child from becoming the eldest grandson of the Liu family. Harvey didn't hesitate to lock me in a cold storage with a temperature of minus 20 degrees Celsius. The eldest grandson must be my sister-in-law's child. She has nothing. And since you already have all my love, you should leave the property to her child. The cold storage will delay the time of your childbirth. You can give birth when it's your turn. The pain from the uterine contractions made me want to die. I lost all my dignity and knelt down to beg him to take me to the hospital. But he kicked me down with one foot. Don't think I don't know what tricks you're playing. Don't you just want to give birth early and get the property left by my father? Why are you so vicious? You're willing to let your child be born prematurely just to compete with my sister-in-law. Have some mercy for yourself and your child. I explained to him weakly and palely. My due date is within these few days, and the baby could come at any moment. I promise that my child will definitely not compete for the property. I can write a blood oath. I just want my child to be safe. Harvey pulled away the cuff of his trousers that I had finally managed to hold onto and snorted coldly. You're so scheming. Who knows? I'm the father of the child and I also hope for the child's safety even more. I'll come back to pick you up after my sister-in-law gives birth. Later, when he saw the crying baby in his sister-in-law's arms, he finally remembered me and instructed his secretary to take me to the hospital. But the secretary trembled and said, "Madam and the child are both dead." Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. I struggled to crawl to the door. The moment the door was locked, my finger was severely pinched by the iron door, and the sound of the bone breaking was very clear, coupled with the intense uterine contractions. I let out a loud scream, but Harvey was too excited to hear me at all. At this moment, I felt warm liquid flowing from my lower body, and the baby was gradually descending. A huge sense of fear overwhelmed my whole body. I forced myself to calm down and took out my phone to call for help. But Harvey actually pulled out my phone card. My belly, which had been kicked, was wriggling together with the baby inside, as if it was about to burst. I didn't know whether it was sweat or blood that soaked my whole body. I could feel the ice chips formed from the frozen warm liquid. I shouted with all my might. Even if there was the slightest hope, I didn't want to give up. Finally, there were footsteps outside the door. I shouted eagerly, "Please save me. I'm locked in the cold storage and I'm about to give birth." I kept repeating this sentence. Just when I thought I was about to be rescued, the person suddenly spoke. "Julia, you deserve this. My brother should have taught you a good lesson long ago." It was Harvey's sister, Lena. I closed my eyes tightly and tried my best to speak clearly. "Lena, please help me out first. I'm about to give birth and I can't wait any longer." Lena suddenly became angry and kicked the door hard. Her voice shrill. "Do you want to go out and disrupt my sister-in-law's childbirth? My brother asked me to keep an eye on you today just in case of an accident. Julia, please stop causing trouble for my brother. He's already so busy, and you still want to add to his troubles. The property of our family belongs to whoever it should belong to. It's not something you can covet." A sudden strong uterine contraction made me scream, and I gasped as I assured her, "I won't take a single cent of your family's property. Please tell your brother the situation and let me out. I promise I'll never show up in front of your family again." Hearing my scream, Lena was very annoyed, frowned and cursed. "Are you crazy? Why are you shouting so loudly? Are you calling for your mother? It's not like only you can shout. If you keep shouting, I'll find someone to sew your mouth shut." Then she picked up her phone and made a call. The biting cold air and the intense pain made my life a living hell. "Don't worry, brother. I'll keep a good eye on her." When I heard Harvey's voice on the phone, I had hope again. I shouted at the top of my lungs towards the door. "Harvey, the baby is about to be born. Please ask Lena to take me to the hospital." At this moment, I couldn't control myself and kept shouting. Lena hesitated a bit and whispered, Brother. Could she really be about to give birth? It doesn't sound like she's faking it. Should I take her to the hospital first? After all, you can only have this one child in your life. What if something unexpected happens? Harvey paused for a few seconds, as if thinking, and then his tone softened. First, you take her. At this moment, a delicate voice suddenly came from the other side. Harvey, I want to eat pizza now. The doctor said I need to eat enough to have the strength to give birth. Is Julia about to give birth? Don't worry. Giving birth doesn't hurt at all. I didn't feel a thing. Look at me. I can even get up and dance for you now. I believe Julia is the same as me. Of course she wouldn't feel the pain. Harvey had arranged for her to stay in a private hospital that cost 150,000 yuan a day, and she was well taken care of in all aspects. Harvey believed Cherry's words and scolded coldly. What kind of accident could there be? With her being so scheming, she definitely won't put herself in a disadvantageous situation. She's just shouting on purpose to make you let her out. Don't be deceived by her. Harvey hung up the phone, angry at being scolded by her brother. Lena actually let the snake she kept into the cold storage. It's all your fault. Just stay here and have a good time with my snake. The next second, a cold snake coiled around my neck. I was so scared that I screamed and cried out. Suddenly, my neck was tightened, and I was almost suffocated. I tried to take a deep breath to keep myself calm. Then, holding my belly with one hand, I mustered up the courage to grab the snake with the other hand, trying to pull it off. But it bit my hand. I winced in pain and pulled my hand back, not daring to pull it again. I lay on the ground helplessly, tears flowing silently. It felt as if there was a meat grinder turning in my belly. I lay on the ground on the verge of death. The snake around my neck suddenly loosened and started slithering all over my body, and I was bitten several times. But I didn't feel anything. In a trance, it seemed that I saw death waving at me. Just when I thought I was about to die, Lena suddenly appeared. With a whistle, she called the snake away. She knocked on the door heavily, but I didn't have the strength to shout. Lena seemed a bit flustered. She suddenly opened the door of the cold storage with a key. It was very dim inside. She squatted down and grabbed my hair so that she could barely see my expression. Suddenly, she snorted coldly and slammed my head onto the ground. You're such a bitch. Were you scared silly by my precious snake? Why don't you pretend anymore? Keep shouting. There was nothing but disgust for me in Lena's eyes. You stopped shouting only when you realized that no matter how much you called my brother, he wouldn't let you out. Heh, you're really a selfish person who only does things that are completely beneficial to yourself. She played with the snake in her hand. Suddenly, a ray of light from outside the door made her see the blood on the snake. Lena was immediately enraged and kicked my belly hard. Julia, are you crazy? Why did you hurt my precious snake? Its life is much more important than your miserable life. She felt very sorry for her snake. If my precious snake is killed by you, I'll make my brother divorce you. Anyway, my brother has always had feelings for my sister-in-law. It would be just right for you to leave so that they can finally be together. Don't even think about taking the child you gave birth to with all your efforts. She got up resentfully. When she left, she lowered the temperature of the cold storage by another 10 degrees. I couldn't stop shivering all over my body from the cold. In a blur, I seemed to hear the cry of a baby. The little one kept calling me Mom in the darkness, asking me to save it. I couldn't help but break down and cry. I could have seen it and held it in my arms today. It was just one step away. But why did God play such a cruel trick on the fate of my child? I let out a hoarse scream, and a sense of powerlessness pierced my heart. With very little hope of being rescued, I endured the intense pain and gently stroked my belly, saying some words to the baby. If possible, I hope that in its next life, it will be born into a family where the father loves the mother, so that it can be happy. My breathing became weaker and weaker, and the blood in my whole body seemed to be frozen. At this moment, someone suddenly opened the door of the cold storage and turned on the light. He was startled by the sight of me lying in a pool of blood. I tried my best to move forward and made a sound. Save me. He was so scared that his voice trembled. Who are you? What did you do? How could Mr. Harvey leave you here as a punishment? He looked at me with great vigilance. I'm Harvey's wife. I struggled to stretch out my hand stained with blood. The diamond ring was so stained that its original appearance couldn't be seen. This is the unique diamond ring he gave me. When he saw the diamond ring, he recognized my identity. He was about to help me up. But then he thought for a while and took out his phone to call Harvey. Mr. Harvey, I met your wife when I came to pick up the goods. She's covered in blood. Should I send her to the hospital immediately? Harvey was very puzzled. Blood. She actually hurt Lena's snake so badly. There's blood all over the ground. No wonder Lena is so sad. Harvey's eyes became more determined. No need to send her to the hospital. That's not her blood. She's fine. I'll go and pick her up myself later. Just as the worker was about to explain further, Harvey hung up the phone ruthlessly. He walked past me helplessly. After moving the goods, he actually came back to me. It seemed that he had gone through a fierce mental struggle. You're a pregnant woman. I can't just stand by and watch you die. Let this be a good deed for my wife and the baby in her belly. He dragged me out of the cold storage and called an ambulance for me. At the moment of being rescued, my heart finally relaxed. But after arriving at the hospital, there were no extra facilities for me to give birth. Harvey was afraid that something unexpected might happen during Cherry's childbirth, so he had privately reserved all the facilities in the hospital. My situation was very critical. In order to consider my safety, the doctor could only transfer me to a private hospital with complete facilities. The doctor found the contact in my address book, noted down the number labeled husband, and called it. Hello. Are you Julia's family member? Please come to the private hospital immediately. The pregnant woman's condition is very poor, and there is a risk of amniotic fluid embolism. Harvey was obviously impatient. He suddenly raised his voice and roared. Julia, you really have some nerve. You actually ran out by yourself and even found someone to persuade me. I'm telling you, no matter what tricks you use, I'm not going there. I know your body best. And there's no way something will happen to you. Just stay put and give birth when it's time. Don't use all those underhanded tricks to disgust others. The doctor looked at me with great sympathy and then turned to his colleague and said, First, send her to the private hospital. We'll deal with it when there are facilities available. But I didn't expect that I would be sent to the hospital where Cherry was. No matter how the doctor tried to persuade him, Harvey refused to give up one set of equipment. I heard Harvey's cold words through the wall. No matter who it is, I won't let Cherry lose the chance of being saved. I want everything to be foolproof. I lay on the ground like a pile of flesh. Suddenly, I met the eyes of someone outside the door. It was Harvey's secretary. When he saw me, his pupils dilated, but he wasn't sure if it was me. I tried to speak in a hoarse voice, but he rushed to Harvey immediately. Mr. Harvey, there's a woman covered in blood outside who looks like the madam. Harvey frowned, rubbed his fingertips, and was very certain. It's impossible. With her being so pregnant, she couldn't have come here. The secretary whispered a word of advice. Why don't you go out and confirm it? In case it really is the madam, then she and the baby in her belly will be in great danger. Harvey gave the secretary a fierce glare. I said it's impossible. If it were her, she definitely wouldn't be so obedient. She would have rushed in and asked me for the property long ago. Besides, a woman like her who only loves herself wouldn't be willing to get herself covered in blood. At this moment, the doctor was still insisting on asking Harvey to give up one set of equipment. Harvey directly threatened him with his position. In the end, the doctor had no choice and apologized to me, saying that there was nothing he could do. Since I had escaped from the cold storage, I didn't want to give up even the slightest chance of my child surviving, even if it was only a 0.1% probability. Enduring the intense pain and holding my belly, I borrowed the doctor's phone and dialed the phone number that I had memorized by heart. Father, I dare not disobey you anymore. Please save your daughter. My father didn't ask me the reason and directly asked for my address. The moment I heard his voice, I couldn't help but burst into tears. There were feelings of grievance, regret, and all kinds of other emotions mixed together. In less than 15 minutes, the helicopter sent by my father arrived. A row of doctors came down. I was carried onto the helicopter, and the medical facilities inside were very complete. The doctors were in a hurry to deliver my baby. Dozens of scalpels were moving back and forth on my lower abdomen. Even with the anesthesia, I could still feel the pain. After a long time, the doctor suddenly let out a sigh of relief. It's out. But I didn't hear the cry of the baby. Suddenly, my heart seemed to be severely cut open. A sense of foreboding filled my mind. I choked and asked, "My baby, is it healthy?" The doctor quickly pressed me back onto the bed and said seriously, "Don't worry. The baby's condition is not good and needs to be treated back on the island." My mind went blank, and I just kept nodding. When the plane took off, I suddenly stopped my father's confidant. "What will happen to Harvey after I leave?" "He will definitely search high and low for me." He patted my hand. "Don't worry. The boss has made all the arrangements." Harvey closely guarded in front of the operating room. The moment the door of the operating room opened, he first cared about whether Cherry was safe and sound. After arriving at the ward, Harvey picked up the baby. His eyes were filled with joy, and he said softly, "This child looks a lot like you. She's very beautiful." After saying that, he was slightly dazed for a moment. He was wondering who Julia's child would look like. If it was a girl, she would probably resemble Julia more, and the child would definitely be even more beautiful when born. After lulling the baby to sleep, Harvey turned and left. It was already the next day, and it was time to bring Julia to the hospital. Just then, the secretary suddenly appeared. Harvey tossed the keys to the secretary. "Drive to the cold storage and bring the madam to the hospital." The secretary didn't dare to look up at him. His eyes were full of fear, and he stood there trembling, not daring to move. When Harvey was getting impatient, the secretary suddenly said with trembling teeth, "The madam and the child both died." Harvey's pupils seemed to shatter. He staggered back a few steps but quickly regained his composure. "How is that possible? She was still fine when I left. There's no way she's dead. This must be one of her little tricks to get my attention. Didn't I tell you not to believe her?" The secretary was so scared that he hunched over, and his whole voice was shaking. "The madam's body is right outside the cold storage. The DNA test has been done, and it's the madam." Harvey felt unsure in his heart, and panic had already appeared in his eyes. He snatched the keys from the secretary's hand and took off running. "Go to the cold storage." The secretary didn't dare to stay for a moment and followed him. Harvey drove at the highest speed and arrived at the cold storage in less than 20 minutes. There was a group of people gathered around. He pushed through the crowd, breathing heavily, and unconsciously shouting as he did so, "Julia, if I find out you're lying to me, you're finished." But the moment he saw the body on the ground, his heart seemed to be cut in half by someone. The pregnant woman covered in blood lying on the ground was Julia. Even though her face was smeared with blood, he could still recognize her. Harvey's legs went weak, and he knelt on the ground. He crawled forward on his knees. His hands were shaking as he pushed the stray hairs away from her face. Harvey was deceiving himself. He shouted in despair, "Julia, get up! Get up for me! How could someone as scheming as you be willing to let yourself die? You must be lying to me, right? You just want me to care about you. And now I'll do as you wish. As long as you can wake up, I'll give you all the property in the house. Okay." He held the body in his hands and kept shaking it, but there was no response. Harvey finally couldn't hold it in and let out a roar, tears streaming down his face. "I beg you to wake up." "Okay." The secretary walked forward tremblingly. He couldn't describe the feeling he had seeing this scene. "Mr. Harvey, give it up. The madam has already." Harvey's eyes were blood red. And he shouted, "Get out! She can't be dead. She must be lying to me." The passers-by couldn't stand it either. Their eyes were full of pity and admonition. "Sir, your wife has indeed. Let her rest in peace." Then a woman couldn't bear to look anymore and turned her head away. I don't know how much suffering she endured. She was about to give birth but was locked in. I can't even imagine how painful it must have been for her. When I gave birth to my son, it almost cost me half my life. Sigh. Suddenly, it started to rain in the sky, and everyone dispersed. The secretary quickly went to the car to get an umbrella and held it over Harvey's head. "Mr. Harvey, it's raining." Harvey held the body tightly and didn't say a word. The secretary continued, "The madam suffered a great deal during her lifetime. Don't let her get caught in the rain now, or she'll be cold." Only after hearing this did Harvey slowly pick up the body, ignoring the bloodstains on his body. He directly carried the body back to the car. I was sent back to the island. My father mobilized all his manpower and quickly created a body that was 99% similar to mine and placed it in front of the cold storage. That's how Harvey saw that body. But the baby was too small and ultimately couldn't be saved. I secretly hid under the quilt and sobbed softly. I had tried everything but still couldn't save my child. It must be blaming me. The more I thought about it, the more upset I felt. Suddenly, the light in the room was turned on. I quickly wiped away my tears in a flurry. "Julia." It was my dad. His magnetic voice made me feel full of security. "It's not your fault that the child is gone. It just means that you two didn't have the fate to be together. But the fact that you were able to meet already used up all your fate. You were briefly its mother. It doesn't matter. You can have another child." He let out a soft sigh, and his whole face was filled with pity. "But if you're sad because of that scoundrel, there's really no need for that. I didn't agree to you being with him in the first place. You were so stubborn that you even threatened to sever our father-daughter relationship just to be with him." I stuck my head out. After seeing my dad's increasingly aged face after all these years, I couldn't help but cry again. I choked up and said, "Dad, I was wrong. Please forgive your daughter. I'm not sad because of him. I'm just heartbroken for my child." My dad gently wiped away my tears. "Silly child. You're my only precious daughter. How could I not forgive you?" Then a fierce look appeared in my dad's eyes. He clenched his fists. "Harvey actually dared to hurt you like this. I think that kid really has a death wish. Julia, don't worry. Dad will definitely avenge you." I soothed my dad and told him not to be so angry. When I turned 18, I got tired of living by my father's side and ran out of the island despite his objections. After I came out, I met Harvey. He was the first boy I had ever fallen for in my life. Later, I stuck to him like an adhesive plaster, and he couldn't get rid of me. After I married Harvey, I got pregnant. But it was also from then on that Harvey started to get tired of me. I didn't tell him my identity. So in his eyes, I was an orphan with nothing. He thought that I married him just to get pregnant and compete for the property. Coincidentally, his eldest brother passed away unexpectedly at that time. In order to follow his brother's last wish, Harvey took great care of his pregnant sister-in-law. Throughout my pregnancy, he always looked at me coldly and rarely showed me a good face. But I knew that from the details. I could still tell that Harvey loved the child very much. So I was thinking that maybe things would be better after the child was born. But such a huge accident happened before the baby was born. My heart also completely died along with the baby. My father controls the industrial chains across the whole country and even in the entire European region. Harvey made my father angry, and his company might go through a huge crisis. After that, I calmed down and started learning from my dad how to manage the company. He only has me as his daughter, and the company will definitely be handed over to me in the future. Now I don't have any other thoughts. After my body recovers, I'll go to the company. I found a graveyard for my dead baby on the island. It is surrounded by the sea, very quiet and making people feel at ease. I hope that my child won't be restricted by anything or anyone in the future. At least it has the right to choose to strive for its own life. I sat in front of the graveyard for a long, long time. For so long that I fantasized about what its life should have been like. It was only when it got dark that the servant called me back for dinner. After that day, I completely emerged from the memories of the past and would never be nostalgic again. I learned to be a ruthless businesswoman in the business battles like my dad. But I really didn't expect that Harvey would find out so quickly that my body was fake. This matter had already been reported in the news. After learning of my death, he didn't bury my body. Instead, he cleaned the body and even ate and lived with it every day. I was shocked by Harvey when I saw the news. As time went by, the body didn't rot at all. Harvey sensed something was wrong and found someone to appraise it. As a result, he found out that it was a fake body. Harvey instantly regained hope and sent out all his manpower to search for me. He even offered a reward of 100,000 yuan to anyone who could provide clues about me. When I saw this news, I just thought he was crazy. It didn't matter. My dad's island is abroad, and it's not that easy for him to find me. I didn't think much about it and continued to learn how to manage the company. I have a very strong learning ability. After a month, I was able to join the company's senior management. Just after a meeting that day, someone suddenly burst into the meeting room. It was Harvey. I waved my hand to let the people in the meeting leave. When Harvey saw me, his eyes instantly turned blood red. He rushed in front of me and grabbed my wrist. "Julia, why did you fake your death? Do you know how crazy I was with worry? I told you. You cherish your life so much. There's no way you would let yourself die." Then his expression became very serious, and he looked around. "Why did you come here? Do you know that ordinary people can't get in here? And it's even very difficult for me to get in." Suddenly, he seemed to lose his temper and waved his hand. "Forget it. I don't care what means you used to get in here. Now come home with me." He looked at my belly. "Where's the baby? She should be a month old by now. Right? Julia, you really shouldn't have run away on your own, making me miss the first sight of our child. Bring the baby and come home with me." He turned around and was about to take me away. As soon as I heard him mention the baby, the hatred in my heart welled up. Seeing that he couldn't pull me, Harvey turned around in confusion and looked at me. "Why aren't you moving? Stop being willful." "I've thought about it again. I'll give you 10% of the family property. This is my biggest concession. Don't be unreasonable." Looking at his confident appearance, I suddenly laughed. But while laughing, I also started crying. After experiencing life and death, my personality has changed a lot from before. There's no tenderness in my eyes anymore. I forcefully shook off Harvey's hand. "I never wanted a single cent of your family's property. It's you who didn't believe me. You killed our child." My voice was trembling when I said this. I just wanted him to feel regret. Harvey frowned and obviously didn't believe me. He seemed to be suppressing his impatience and said softly, "I've been deceived by you once, and I won't fall for it again this time. Julia, stop making a scene. I'll give you everything you want. From now on, I'll give you all the attention you want. Tell me where the child is. We'll go and bring her home right now." I stared at Harvey fiercely. He was really ridiculous and hateful. No matter what I said, he wouldn't believe me. I suddenly shouted, "Are you a beast? Can't you understand human language? The baby is gone. It's over between us. Can't you see that I faked my death to avoid you? I never want to see you again in my life. But why did you come to find me again?" I suppressed my emotions and took a deep breath. "This will be the last time we meet." After saying that, I picked up the documents on the table and turned to leave. Harvey was stunned by my sudden change. In the past, I had always been obedient to him and had never even raised my voice. He couldn't accept this gap for a while. When I went out, he suddenly rushed over and blocked my way. "Luo Wan, take back what you just said right now. Do you know that you have nothing without me? How are you going to raise the child? You can't even afford the milk powder. Do you want to starve the child to death? I don't know what means you used to get into this company, but you're doomed to fail here because you don't have the ability. Your final destination is still me." I was amused by his words. Harvey was being too narcissistic, wasn't he? He thought he was so capable. But he didn't know that if my dad hadn't been afraid that I would suffer in his family and secretly promoted the development of Harvey's family's business, Harvey's family would have gone bankrupt during that crisis. Harvey was a bit at a loss because of my laughter. He opened his mouth and then closed it. I smiled, raised my lips, and gave him a disdainful look. "You're so full of yourself." Harvey was so angry that he couldn't say a word. He stood there pointing at me furiously. Just as I was about to leave, he suddenly grabbed my wrist tightly. "Julia, I won't let you leave me again. My mission today is to take you home. You don't know how heartbroken I was when I thought I was going to lose you. I missed you so much that I went crazy. No matter how much you provoke me this time, I won't back down." Humph. Who is he trying to act affectionate for now? It's disgusting. I forcefully shook off his wrist. "Who do you think you are? Do you even have the right?" He snorted coldly. "I decide whether I have the right or not." Just as I was about to roll my eyes, he suddenly picked me up and threw me over his shoulder. "I'm taking you home right now. If you don't tell me where the baby is now, when the baby is hungry, you'll definitely feel sorry for her and bring her back." I used both my hands and feet, punching and kicking him, but it was all in vain. Such a commotion attracted the employees. They all opened their eyes wide and looked at the scene in disbelief. Some who came to their senses quickly stepped forward to stop him. "Sir, put our manager down quickly. You can't afford to offend her. If she gets angry, you won't be able to stay in this business anymore." Then more people came to their senses and tried to persuade him one after another. "Oh, this is our manager Julia. Usually, we wouldn't even dare to touch a single finger of hers. If you want to live, put her down quickly, or you'll regret it later." Harvey seemed to have heard a joke and snorted coldly. "So what if she's manager Julia? She's my wife. I can make her stop being this manager anytime." He ignored everyone and insisted on carrying me away. I bit him hard, but he continued walking as if he didn't feel it. I gasped for breath. "Harvey, what they said is right. My dad is the boss of this company. If he finds out that you came to look for me, you're really done for." Harvey laughed even more recklessly, but he also gently soothed me. "Julia, what kind of joke are you playing? I know you're an orphan. Later, when we get home, we'll bring the baby back. Our family of 3 will be happily together. I'll give you all my love and never do anything to betray you again." He kept walking and wouldn't listen to anything else. I had no choice but to grab my assistant, go and call my dad. Upon hearing this, the assistant didn't dare to waste a moment. He quickly took out his phone and called my dad. Only then did I feel a little more at ease. Harvey carried me all the way and kept saying sweet words to me. I felt disgusted and turned a deaf ear to him. When he reached the company lobby, my dad got off the helicopter in a hurry and rushed to the lobby quickly. The moment he saw Harvey, there was an uncontrollable fierce look in his eyes. Harvey knew that my dad was the chairman of this company. After seeing my dad, he didn't even dare to breathe loudly and lowered his head to show respect. But when he walked up to me, my dad snatched me away from him and then punched Harvey in the face. 2 of Harvey's front teeth were knocked out. My dad pointed at him and cursed angrily. "Harvey, I didn't go looking for trouble with you, but you actually came to my doorstep. You even dared to have designs on my daughter." My dad was really angry at the moment. He directly took out his phone and called his confidant. Cut off the supply chain of the Harvey family. Once these words were said, it meant that the Harvey family was going to go bankrupt because the Harvey family had no other place to get goods except here. Harvey was stunned by the punch and then he realized what was happening. You're really Julia's father." His voice trembled with fear, and his legs went weak. He knelt down again and started kowtowing. "I didn't mean anything else. Julia and I are husband and wife. I just wanted to take her home. I'm sorry, Mr. Song. I never heard Julia say that she still had family." Harvey was like a dog that was extremely humble at this moment. My father hated him and kicked him hard again. take Julia home, and torture her to the point where she feels worse than death again. I'm telling you, making you go bankrupt is already a light punishment. I really wish I could cut you into pieces and let you taste what my daughter has suffered. I patted my dad on the back to soothe him. Harvey's eyes were red and swollen. He crawled in front of me like a dog and pleaded, Julia, this time I really want to treat you well when I take you back. I was blinded by money before and treated you so badly. But when I heard that you were dead, I really wished I could die with you. I can't live without you. Please forgive me this time. Okay. The Harvey family's business was built by my grandfather when he was young. I can't let it go under in my hands. I looked at him with contempt. He was actually begging my father more than me. He just thought that I would be soft-hearted and he could still have a chance. But this time, Harvey was wrong. I didn't feel the slightest bit of pity. I kicked him away. It's too late. Harvey had lost his former arrogance. Now he was crying like a beggar. He grabbed my skirt and kept repeating for me to save him. I was really annoyed. I pulled his hand that was holding onto my skirt away, just like he did to me back then. I took my father's arm and left, sending him to the plane. He was very busy every day. I don't know how many businesses he had to put off to come here for me. After my father left, after much hesitation, I still went back to find Harvey. This matter had to be completely ended. When Harvey saw me coming back, his eyes lit up. Julia, I knew you wouldn't be that heartless. I stared at him coldly for a while and then said, Harvey, it's completely over between us. And there's no connection between us anymore. The baby died that day. I choked up. It was you who killed the baby. If you had taken me to the hospital that day, the baby wouldn't have died. I took out the photo of the baby's graveyard that I took at that time and showed it to him. So you don't have to threaten me with the baby. I didn't want to say another word to him. I put away my phone and turned to leave. After seeing the graveyard, Harvey completely broke down. His snot and tears mixed together. He pleaded with me in an extremely humble way. Julia, I can accept going bankrupt now, but I can't accept not having you. Without you, my heart feels like it's been dug out. Please come back to me. Okay. I really know I was wrong. I'll make it up to you double in the future. I laughed softly, and the words I said pierced his pride deeply. You're a poor man now. What can you use to compensate me? After hearing this, Harvey stood there stunned. I didn't stay any longer and turned to leave. That night, I heard the news that the Harvey family had gone bankrupt, and Harvey was chased and killed by his former enemies who hated him. Instead of running away, he directly faced them and let them do whatever they wanted to him. Before he died, there wasn't a single piece of uninjured flesh on his body. And before he died, he kept repeating, I want to atone for my sins. I want to atone for the sins against my child. I sat at the head of the baby's grave and kept playing this audio. Baby, the person who hurt you has received his due punishment. Later, I adopted a cat. It was very spiritual and would stick to me every day. Sometimes I felt that the baby had turned into this little cat to accompany me.